Hi guys, Nikolay Volf here. I'm the founder of Gear Foundation and Wire Network, and I've been in crypto like for ages already. So I actually started my kind of crypto career by developing Ethereum itself, then it was Polkadot, and then my own project, which is Wire Network, one of our products, and then once we kind of published Wire Network and made it like a perfect layer one network, which is a kind of modern computational network. It can do as much as other players in the space can do, and it provides kind of glimpse into our understanding of how modern blockchain should work. It has some nice properties, has a great computational capacity and so on. But then when I kind of when we launched this wire network thing, I kind of try to understand what current Ethereum state is, and it was pretty much disappointing for me because we have a bunch of layer 2s on Ethereum which kind of try to get liquidity from Ethereum itself, move it on another chain, and then kind of make and separate fragmented ecosystems, which one owning like a small part of this liquidity, which is essentially should be on Ethereum itself, right? It came on Ethereum because the Ethereum is secure, is convenient, and so on. And in our days, all this layer 2 is trying to to reverse what was done by providing some advantages. Obviously, they have some advantages, be that latency, fast finality. I mean, and more efficient computations, but not all of them. As as we kind of try to assess what they are doing, they basically put the same EVM, put this EVM on supercomputers, and then claim that they kind of somehow improved Ethereum by moving by kind of disabling its actual promised power of decentralization. That means that actually the network can be run on user hardware, not on some supercomputers hosted in the cloud, which is kind of has a lot of risks, be that as a supply chain risk that Amazon will just shut down this thing, or Google Cloud or whatever, and also that actual average person, that average crypto enthusiast can't run this thing on its own computer. So this is some of the concerns of current state of Ethereum ecosystem. And then so we came up with a different approach rather than making another layer 2 and try to integrate it in Ethereum. We kind of shifted our focus on providing exactly what Ethereum needs, right? So one of the two it's actually only two things though. We need to very fast finality for user applications, and then sometimes we need like a bunch of computation, like a lot of heavy stuff needs to be done, and then kind of Ethereum should be aware of those computations, and it should be aware of those small operations which kind of operate in a low latency space and compete with modern low latency blockchains, right? So, for example, if you look why Solana is so popular, that's because user can develop very responsive, fast and responsive applications on top of it, right? So when a user presses a button and then he immediately gets the result on his application, as opposed to Ethereum, which is where it's not the case, right? And then, so we kind of try to address two exact pain points of Ethereum and to address them, in engineering sound way, so that the whole construction will live for many decades, right? So we know how to do stuff, right? So Vara network, which we launched before that, enjoys bug-free computations and modern approach to the computation, which would be like the actor model for communication, where each of the applications, each of the users are kind of isolated actors, which can only send messages to to other actors, and then any actor that is computing can only affect its own state and exchange messages with other actors, and this is proven by computer science that it's best approach when we are dealing with a multi-actor system where everything should be run in parallel and everything should be able to respond in an asynchronous way for user inquiries, and then if we kind of see how the modern world is, so we have like a bunch of financial actors. Each of them is operating independent of others, and each of them is kind of receiving events from the world from other actors, also independent of others. And so we are if we kind of see how modern chains approaches by trying to to make some order in which everything should happen, and this is not a easy task, right? And what if instead we try to not to fight against asynchronous world, but rather to embrace it, right? And then in Vara.eth we do exactly that. We allow each application to work on its own, be on, I would say, small roll up on its own, and then we in Vara.eth we kind of make it so that their state is persistent. So every application is persisted. It's able to interact with all users with low latency. It can provide a great computing power, one applications or collection of applications, and then we in Vara.eth we make sure that they run as I declared. So the code is the law. We integrate it with Ethereum, and we run all of these small applications, these small rollups, in parallel fashion, so they kind of all work asynchronously, and we make sure that they're kind of integrated with Ethereum state and also have finality on their own. So we kind of provide the finality with a low latency, and then when this initial finality is kind of reached, then we increase security by which comes later on by making sure that Ethereum is also getting this finalized and aware of this on its own, right? Okay, and what this gives us is Vara.eth becoming a certain application platform, rather secure application platform, but also with a nice, very nice properties, which are completely integrated with Ethereum itself. So one of them is near instant finality, because we kind of have this ability to by executing independent consensus mechanism for for as an initial part of this application platform security. So we can have near instant finality. That means that all applications that were lacking this, that were forced to move to rollup, or even worse, to Solana, they would they will have no need to go there. So they can publish in Vara.eth, and they can have this near instant pre-confirmations, very fast finality, and then they get full security of Ethereum eventually. So we call this kind of thing like progressive security. You have very fast, not so secure pre-confirmations. Then you have rather fast, not so secure like rollup finality, so to speak. And then eventually you have your Ethereum security at the Ethereum speed, basically. One of the other things that our application platform is making available is a so-called reverse gas model. What it means for users is basically applications can interact with users with no gas fees involved. They can choose to to take some fee, but they're also free to interact with their users for free. That basically depends on them how to establish this financial turnover between application and their users, but it's up to them. They can be forever free. They can have freemium things. They can only pay to use whatever. It's up to application. So we have this vast opportunities of traditional Web 2 approaches that can be implemented in this Web 3 Web 3 space. And if some applications were lacking these things, they will have it right. And then also it's useful to mention that we are doing this, but by also completely preserving Ethereum values. So all of our things, of our validators, of our computing nodes are run on the consumer hardware. That means we don't need supercomputers to run all of that, and we still provide about 1,000 more computing or more raw computing power than Ethereum on its own. So it's a nice addition for Ethereum itself, right? And all this computing power can be run on Ethereum state essentially, despite it is much more power than that. Yeah, so we try to do the hard thing, right? So we try to integrate all Ethereum liquidity and add more usage on top of that. So that's what we are doing. And yeah, why this matters? Because it's basically the greatest combo you can have. You can have your Ethereum, which is a super secure layer. It has a lot of liquidity, a lot of everything, a lot of users, and then you have like a additional layer to interact with users, completely integrated with Ethereum. And then, yeah, so you have best from the both worlds, right? You have sub-second executions with pre-confirmations. You have fast finality, fast initial finality, and then you have like a full finality of Ethereum. Everything is done on the same Ethereum state, on the same liquidity, on the same everything, right? And I already covered a little bit that we have this progressive security where as the time passes from your initial pre-confirmation, which you can actually ignore in your application if you want to, only for hard security. If you go only for hard security, you ignore initial pre-confirmation, which are also secure, but they're kind of where they're not final, right? And then you can choose rather to react on the initial pre-confirmation or rather wait for full finality, which comes just a little bit later, right? And then the possibilities of these things is quite vast. So all the applications that couldn't be on Ethereum because they were either lacking this responsive UI. They were lacking on raw computing power that can be like some kind of order book exchanges, like the swaps involving like thousands of users. That's why they invented automatic market maker to avoid this thing which is too expensive to requires too much computing power just to finish, so it was not practical. And then this is why the X, for example, Hyperlake, they're all running their own chain, so they're fragmenting the liquidity and fragmenting the user. They kind of try to suck all the actual things on their platform, which is not actually decentralized and not actually censorship resistant because of the of the protocols chosen, of the architecture chosen. All of this stuff are not as decentralized and censorship resistant as Ethereum itself, right? And then users come there, and then they stuck into new limits, new some things, then they move to another platform which is also less decentralized, less secure, and then kind of we see the erosion of original values, original rules about that. The code is lower, the community owns everything and community runs everything on their own hardware. This is starting to disappear as we go and take easy paths, right, to move everything in the new shiny chain, and then try to pursue users to go on this new chain, and this just never works. We need to improve existing chain, which is a hard thing because it's already established, it's already has its own rules, and you need to hack into those rules and improve the experience of users that already there. So yeah, and as I mentioned, a lot of applications just couldn't deploy on this chain, and then they either completely forgot the solution, or moved to a different fragmented chain and try to move users there, and so we instead are improving the Ethereum itself, and we allow these applications that were never on Ethereum because of the issues I just discussed. We allow back then we allow order book exchanges on Ethereum itself, intense risk engines like batch settlements. A lot of stuff can happen on Ethereum itself once we launch the Vara.eth. We can have the gaming back on Ethereum itself. We can have like a simple AI models, even that to happen in a verifiable way, with on-chain verification, with inference verification. We can have like low latency autonomous agents, and so on and so on. And obviously, payments and automation can also happen through this improved responsiveness of the whole solution. So it's always welcome there. So yeah, and happy to answer any additional questions that might have. We have like first of all, we have social media links. eth.vara.network as a starting point. Then we have like a white paper for deep technical dive. Everything is kind of discussed and shown over there. We have Telegram, Discord, Medium, GitHub. Obviously, all what we do is completely open source and managed through GitHub. We are welcoming any issues, any feedback there as well. And we are doing our own products on top of this thing. There's some small things that we think are lacking from today Web3 landscape, and we are welcome every builder that is as passionate about Web3 as we are.